Previously on Unpacked. Themba Ntuli, one of South Africa's popular actors, has enjoyed an illustrious film and television career, but there's more to his story than meets the eye.
Actually, scientifically, it's termed growth hormone deficiency.
Themba never allowed his physical stature to deter him from fulfilling his dreams, finding the love of his life, and overcoming his insecurities.
I've never considered myself disabled. That's why I'm this bubbly. Because, it's my weapon. I'm joking.
I love it. This is part 2 of Themba's story and journey. Let's continue to unpack. Got you. So you found love?
Oh, yes. I did.
Umama runs on.
By God's grace, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I did.
How did you guys meet?
Listen, she stalked me. She went...
So she let you out today to come talk to us?
Listen, dude. No, man, but love and being loved is good. And the fact that I found it, but I think love found me. I will tell you why. Sorry, I
Oshala no, in general.
like people's, and it hasn't been the most fortunate journey for me.
We will come back to the wife now, because that's a very important thing.
Yeah.
We can have our assumptions of why it would have been hard for you to date, but share with us why it's been hard for you to date.
No, realistically, is that most general girls, if I could call it that, would never date a short person.
And of course, they already have their misconceptions about who you are, so they wouldn't even give you an opportunity.
Yeah. Again, being frank with you and very, very honest with you. When I say the journey for love and finding love, because I believe everyone deserves a chance at love, but not everyone will find love, and not everyone finds love the way that they're meant to find love. For me, honestly, and I'm not to go to share as in that kasi thing with but sincerely, because I grew up from a home and a family that possessed love and showed family values, and mom and dad are clocking 30 years, 31 odd years in marriage. It was something that I aspired for. But when I tried, I failed dismally oftentimes. Another thing, people would love the inside of me, the confident, maybe the humor, but they didn't love the package. Unfortunately, the package was everything. And quickly taking it back to my spouse, Hope, when I say that, God worked such an incredible thing in that, because by the time I found Hope, and I think why I always talk about the story in the sense that when I was thinking about love, I wrote a sitcom called Tiny's Tall House. And I had spoken to God about it, and I said, Lord, I know maybe I'm not going to find love, and it's fine, but I can create my own because I'm a creator and I can write. So I wrote. It was me still being short with my wife and many kids, and my wife and kids type of vibe. I had written that sitcom. It sat on the shelf. I was done with love. The reason why I wrote it was because I found an escape for my heart to heal myself and say, if I can't have it physically, I can create it and live within that world. And that's why maybe I'm a storyteller. So I did that. Lo and behold, even Hope and I, at the time, she had met a couple of guys, but she had met condescending guys, egotistical guys that had all the muscle, butele, the look, the hunks. But I think for her, they didn't possess the heart that she was looking for. And I guess I had that, So when she came around, I tried to produce that sitcom so many times. You have no idea. And funny enough, producers would say, the sitcom is a hit. It's great. But it never took off. I spoke to God about it. Guess what he said? You don't need the sitcom.
I'm giving it to you in
My
real
man,
life.
There it is. Oh. It's not going to work anymore. And from there, I appreciated, just how Hope authentically loved not only my personality, she saw beyond the actor. she's so beyond my height. Because even when I finally found out about growth hormone, I told her, I was like, Mzala, ngikwazi ukuguga mfethu etsho labantu laba mfethu bathi zokujova yabona mawukhula as a guy you have these weird things in your mind zomguga down the aisle, and she was like, that is fantastic, but I've seen those guys and it wasn't enough for me. It was your heart that captured me within this body, and she'll tell you her side of things, but I honestly, no one could give that to me, Lebo. Not you, not my mom, not my dad, not my friends. No one could have orchestrated her heart to, even on the day of our marriage, people labeling her as a gold digger or batho ba re no, o mo nyaletse tšhelete and things like that. But she took the risk to love someone like me, you know? And I think for me, that was such a thing that really turned my life around. And to say that, babe, I honestly appreciate you. And all I want to do is show God's love as my thank you to him, to you. I'm so grateful. I love that girl. I really do, with all of my heart. I think for having searched close to 25 years of my life, you know, and just there she is, and I'm living with her, and we're finding life together, and you know, hopes, dreams, aspirations. Now I know she's my partner in purpose, Kamambela.
We're joined via video con by the wife of wives. And I'm still blushing because of how Themba was speaking about his wife earlier on. Hope, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Relebogile. How are you?
I am good. How are you doing?
I am awesome. Hi, babe.
Hey, love. Your voice, Ndona, just...
Hi, Lunali too. Must we give you space?
No, I'm going back home. So
Okay. Hope, thank you so much for joining us. I would like to find out about you. You know, Themba already alluded to the fact that people judged you when you chose to be with him. Talk me through that journey.
Well, firstly, generally with me, I'm not the average skinny, tall girl, but you could say I'm a bit stubby in a sense in terms of my physique, where I'm a little bit short, but not too short. I'm just a 1.6, which is fine. But you know, I am an African girl. You understand? And so when I stand next to someone like my husband, Themba, it becomes as if you're not mama, to understand. And for me, those were some of the things that we had to face in our dating relationship, post our marriage. Actually, not even post our marriage, during our wedding day, you know, and some of the comments that we had to listen, see, you know, and try to dodge a couple of bullets with regards to that. So a lot of people have always seen mother and son. And we'd always have to rectify that to the point that we've gotten to a place where if someone says, I see a kids menu at a restaurant, like, oh, okay, that's okay. Mara, bring the other one also.
But do you ever, I'm going to interrupt you there. Do you ever actually tell people when they say things like, hey, Ma, here's the kids menu, assuming that Themba is your son? Do you ever correct them on the spot, or it's something you don't actually want to deal with?
For me, it depends on my mood on that day. At times, I'd be like, you know what, please don't. This person is married. He's my husband. Can you please respect that? Number two, sometimes we just play along with it. Someone was like, Sisina, I'm a crayon, you know, do you need crayons for your son? I'm like, yes, please give me two, you know? And so it just differs on different days.
Yeah.
Themba, how do you deal with those moments where somebody says, here are crayons? I mean, now you have an understanding from the medical field that what the bones are saying and how the appearance is. That a person might be innocently saying that. They've been given the protocol. And to them,
yeah. No, man, as I said, you know, I always take things from first my perspective and then their perspective. And as Hope beautifully put it, Uti, it depends sometimes on the day where you feel like, do I need to correct this person? Or you know what? Sean, she is bad. It's fine. We'll deal with it. But I would say, honestly, some of them are innocent in their approach because they honestly couldn't tell until number one. And maybe I think television helped me in that regard because they're able to pick up with, oh, Esa, no, Hardy, it's you, Where in some other cases, when like my wife, she's chef. I want to hope she's a no-nonsense, like she's just there to get in line or step out. But I had to teach her that sometimes, and not that she's doing it deliberately, but it's because of trying to protect my interests, trying to protect our relationship, and trying to protect the integrity of our marriage. So I've also had to teach her, Uti, sometimes I do deal with people, and depending on their manner of approach, this is how we address them. This is how we educate them. Yeah. And
I'm glad you mentioned that. Hope, do you feel like sometimes you're being a little bit overprotective and maybe forgetting that Themba is also a public figure?
Well, you know what? I think for me, having last-born tendencies, I've always had to fight my way to get heard. And that for me, I would say it trickled through into my marriage and being married to Themba. And I've had to fight, yes. I'm like, guys, but at the same time, he may look as if, he's 7, but there is so much authority embedded in that. I am a very Miss Independent, let's go forward now, lead type of woman. But when I'm standing next to Themba, there's so much authority that he embodies that I know when he's now speaking, And so even in public, that does come out. I don't have to fight that much. I don't have to defend before he's even in the presence, So he just does it naturally himself. But at times I have to speak it. I'm like, and So it's part of my personality, yet at the same time, being with him and understanding how people are, I give the people space and time with him. I mean, when they ask for pictures in malls or wherever we go, guys, you'll see me there in front, or if they say, can you please take a picture of us, I'll do that, gracefully, because I understand it's his vocation, it's what brings the books in the house, and I need to respect the viewers as well as his fans too.
So bring us back to what were your first impressions of Themba when you met?
And
firstly, be real.
I am so gonna be real with you. We have been together since 2015, and we met in February 2015, where my mom was like, you have been talking with all of these celebrity friends of yours, but never getting to meet them. So my mom had recently bought a new vehicle, which I've never had the opportunity to drive. And she said, take the keys, look good, and go. And it happened that on that day, it was Themba's brother's business launch. And I didn't tell Themba, and I told myself I'll just rock up there. And I got there. Untanga, guys. Oh, Themba, guys. Let me tell you, he was in overalls. And that's so happy. So he wasn't in his best looking moment. But because we had spoken so long over the phone and on social media, I'd known him much better. So when I saw him, I was just all smiles. I was like, oh my gosh, here's this guy. Maybe I was starstruck a bit, I don't know. And I actually realized.
She was.
Trust me, drip.
But then I think for me, more than anything, I only realized that he is short about a year after we got married. And like, my guy, actually, I'm Vishan, But all these other years, I just couldn't see it. And they say love is blind anyway.
So do you think, and I'll ask you this question, Themba, do you think it helped that you guys were speaking online before meeting, as in she had to deal with the human being and your personality and your character before you have to look at physical logistics?
Yeah. Thank you, babe. I can see virtually where. I think it helped because at that time, as I said, she wasn't looking, I wasn't looking. So it was purely friendship. you know, nalimutla, no, okay, baba, baba, but I think my intentions at the time, because I'd been so brokenhearted and being let down by so many people, mina, okay, I was just like, okay, you look good, babe. So let's talk. Sakhuluma but we built such an incredible friendship, a Christ-centered friendship. Those were a lot of our discussions. And I think from that, we worked on so much of the character of who we are. I always say that in love, don't base your love on someone's personality oftentimes, but base it on their character and principles, because that's what you get to live with. My personality is bubbly. Gatlanga sometimes, Hope sometimes is someone who's quiet, reserved, and so forth. So for me, when we based our love on a common ground of first God being God fearing, number two, you know, we didn't base anything on physical appearance. As she says, Guti, I am a bit stubby. I am marang man imthanda njalo mfethu, like yona isiponopono sami, you know. And but honestly, like seriously, I love her type of woman. So what's about Lebu? Honestly, I always tell Hope this. Ha Hope anka hlokafala for me and what God has given me in her. I would never want to replicate with anyone ever. This is my alpha and omega. This is done. It's not something, because it's not easy to open up yourself. For me, at least, it's not something that you just casually do for me to open up myself like that. And for her to be so receptive, so calm, and even in our dating phase, it was something we so honestly discussed, even through marital counseling. They were like, okay, this situation, Yalona, does seem a bit different. Have you honestly spoken about it? And we came and honestly said, look, it's something that we had prior discussed in our marriage, and maybe it won't work the same way for everyone. But for us, it honestly worked out, because not only did we discuss it, we did generally pray about it. And we said, Lord, where I fail, and I know it's my duty as a man, the Bible says your body is no longer your own, but it belongs to your wife. And your wife, same thing. The exchange of bodies is not our own, but it belongs to our partners for that intimate connection. And so if I can pray about food, how can I not then pray about, Lord, here's the situation. Here's what we've come into. And this thing must be until we grow old. You know, when I proposed Hope, the general term is said, Uti, will you marry me? When I proposed Hope, having prayed about, I do a lot of praying because it's what got me this confident about life and everything in general, is the fact that the Holy Spirit spoke to me one day and he said, how mo ko pa ngwana o? Oscar ko yana, will you marry me? Because marriage can be done for home affairs. You get there, you sign, you do whatever. But he said to me, ask to grow old with her. Because then there was something set for you to look forward to. There was something so profound. I remember when we had this conversation while we were dating. I don't know if you remember, babe. And you had gotten this from church. And there was a lady, Usis Otwa, who explained this thing, even when we were cutting our cake. But this is how she put it. In the Bible, there's something called the Ark of the Covenant. It's got two angels, and they are the cherubim that look into the mercy seat, right? This Ark of the Covenant, inside, is the rod of Aaron that budded. It's the manna, and it's the tablets. Now, this is how this lady put this thing into perspective, and that made me really honor what this covenant was about, especially the marital bed side of things. Are, when you look at the cherubim, they represent the lady's ovaries because they cover, right? And because we all know biologically women go through their monthly cycles and things like that. And that's the mercy seat because that's where the blood of the animals was sprinkled, you know. And then she goes on to say that the rod of Aaron it was a dead stick. But when put inside the Ark of the Covenant, it's like Anka Tupa fela, like an ordinary piece of stick. And you put it inside this covenant, and it started budding and showing flowers and things like that. And that represents the sword of the man, or the manhood. You know what I mean? And so what that ministered was that he has, as the only person allowed to go into the sanctuary, was the high priest. So the high priest is the one that would come into this sanctuary, into the tabernacle, put the ark, the rod of Aaron into this ark, and that's where, the cherubim are the ones that are watching over this thing. And what all that means is that sex in the context, or rather biblical context, is worship in and of itself.
That's very powerful.
It's that space where priest mfana uyoshaya service enkonzweni. You know what I mean?
That's such a beautiful way to describe it, and I love that. Listen, I literally could be talking to you, Themba, for hours and hours, because there's so many things we can learn from your story. Hope, thank you so much for joining in on this conversation.
Thank you so much, Relebogile. All I could say is that don't give up on love. Keep hoping. There is someone out there for you. And do not judge somebody just simply by their appearance or whatever that they look like, and you find that it's not appealing to you. Search for the heart, search for purpose, and you will thrive in your relationship. So that's all I can say. Now, thank you so much for watching.
Thank you. Is there anything that you'd like to say to everybody at home?
Thank you so much first for having me on Unpacked. And I think I must comfortably and confidently say that it's not always these kind of interviews that I do, but when I do get to do them, it's so that one gets to shed a bit of light and understanding into my life. I am honestly a private person, and this might be my last interview. Who knows, Jay? So what you got, girl. But honestly, what I want to do, tell everyone, and just encouraging everyone, is that God honestly has a plan for all of our lives. If there's anyone, yes, maybe overly used scripture, Jeremiah 29:11, it says, "For I know the plans that I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, but to give you a hope and a future." My name is Hope, Themba. Hope's name is Hope. And together we're like Hope squared, because God had a plan for our future, because he knew exactly what he was doing. And I don't think there's any one of us, even in this room, that knows what tomorrow will bring. There's not even one of us that are watching at home that knows, Uguti, when I go to bed tonight, will have I accomplished all that God had set out for me to do? So all I want to say is that keep trusting God, keep praying, and also just live a life that is best suited for you. Don't ever try to compromise who you authentically are, because chances are you will die not ever having fulfilled who you were meant to be. We've seen so many young people live and die because of trying to aspire to people like you and me, because of trying to aspire to social media pressures. And that will never buy you anything. In my young 30 years, if there's anything I've taken out of being short, finding love, being married, and just pursuing my career, is it's always best done by being who I am, honestly, and not compromising on that. I never want to compromise the fact that I love ministry. I never want to compromise the fact that I am married to my wife and I love her, and I've set it in my heart to we'll have challenges, but that's my intention. That's my heart. I'm not going to compromise on the plans, honestly, that God has set out for me. And I'll go out there and achieve all of those things, not because I have seen someone else do it or because someone has said, no, it's because I've spent time on my knees loving who I am. I love myself. I do.
Thank
and
you.
I love my wife for loving me.
Thank you so much for coming through. I don't know if you took us to a comedy show, to church, or to a motivational conference.
I don't know.
Either way, I love all of them.
These are songs.
Thank you so much for coming to the show. Hashtag Unpacked with Relebogile. I hope that you're going to continue these conversations on the socials. Like I said, there is so much more to the big star that was in studio with us today, Themba. Much more to his story, and I definitely have walked away a better person. I hope there's something that all of you at home were able to take away from this discussion. Thank you for joining us. Have a good night. Next time on Unpacked.
If I knew the challenges of being a pastor, I wasn't going to be a pastor. No one gets married to be divorced.
Do you think you fighting for your marriage would have yielded the outcome you hoped for? Unpacked with Relebogile Mabotja. New episodes weekdays at 5:30 p.m. on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Television edited broadcasts weekdays at 5 p.m. Open up to S3.